And welcome to Gate to Wire. I'm Bruce Casella along with Dani Gibson. Hello, Dani.
Hey, Bruce, is that Let's Go Racing behind you?
Absolutely. I got
I love that.
I got a smarty room, a smarty basement, and Let's Go Racing, two of my favorites.
Pretty cool, inspiring place to be. Well, lots going on here at Parks. We had some really good races. We're going to show them on the show this week. A few were like mini stakes races, but everybody's talking about the Kentucky Derby Trail. How cool that Dwayne Lucas is going to be back in the starting gate with American Promise. And he's kind of just deciding now if he's going to train up to the race. He likes to race his horses more frequently, but who doesn't love Dwayne Lucas in the Kentucky Derby?
We absolutely love him, and he's a big competitor right here at Parks. He comes in for our Pennsylvania Derby, our cotillion, and it would be great to see this horse back here in September.
I sure hope so.
Did you know
Well,
that Dwayne Lucas is also a poet?
no, but I could believe that. You know what? I did know that. I did know that. He's just a remarkable man, and I know everyone calls him the coach, but he's just a legend. Like, we are so lucky to have someone like him in this industry, and I know a lot of people look up to him, and he's changed the game for sure.
I go back all the way to Lady's Secret with him. So when I used to
Pretty
do the
cool.
ESPN shows, great guy.
Really cool. So yeah, and then there's some stakes races this weekend. Butch Reed's going to be out at Turfway Park. We'll be at Laurel Park and Lou Linder and a couple of Kentucky Derby points races and the Louisiana Derby and the Jeff Ruby Stakes. So things are heating up. It is officially stakes season.
Awesome, awesome. Can't wait. And Let's Go Racing drops on Saturday at 10 a.m.
Yep, 10 a.m. It'll be on Facebook and the Let's Go Racing YouTube channel, so everybody can catch it there.
Without any further ado, let's bring in our man, Jeff Matty. Well, we welcome in our executive director of the Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horsemen Association, and that's Jeff Matty. Jeff, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great. We got a bunch of questions for you. Stephen A. Smith will have nothing on us today. We're gonna grill you with some great questions.
I can't. Looking forward to it.
All right, Jeff, tell us about the PTHA's role in horse racing in Pennsylvania.
Sure, absolutely. The PTHA, Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association, we're located right here at Parks, which means we have direct involvement of all the Parks men and women, owners, trainers, stable employees, jockeys. By statute, we represent owners and trainers, but I think the PTHA takes extra pride in representing all horsemen. So whether that's a stable employee, whether that's the jockeys, you name it, this is a community here at Parks Racing. So the PTHA is very similar to that of the players' representation in Major League Baseball. We are the soundboard. We are the representative body. The PTHA consists of myself, the executive director. We have our president, Bob Hutt. Then we have a board of directors. There's 10 of them. We're elected every 3 years to the board of directors, and it's just really a great association that promotes and goes to bat for the horsemen day in and day out. As you know, the industry of thoroughbred racing is probably unlike any other. It's not 9 to 5. It's not guaranteed paychecks at the end of the week. It's strictly based on hard work. It's based on the results on the racetrack, and it's 365 days a year. So when horsemen's alarms go off anywhere from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., it's a grind, and it's 12 months a year. That's summer, fall, winter, spring. Mother Nature, you're battling Mother Nature. You're battling the ups and downs of a 1,200-pound animal that doesn't speak. So there's a lot of challenges in itself. So to be able to represent horsemen, I take great pride in it. Obviously, Dani takes great pride in it. Our entire board takes pride in it. And it's, there's a lot of different challenges day in and day out. It's just like that in a barn. When a trainer shows up to the barn, they're not really sure what they're going to be presented with that day. And just like when we show up to the office, we're not sure what's going to, take precedent, but our horsemen take precedent. Now, the interactions, the challenges we face, whether it's from HISA, the federal governing body, to our horsemen, whether it's from Harrisburg, and, just inner workings of our community. So we really don't know when we show up every day what's going to take the cake, but we do our best to represent each and every horseman, whether they have one horse or I believe right now our largest trainer has about 65 horses. So any and all between roughly 160 some trainers. We're very proud to represent them and be their soundboard.
Yeah, kind of like a union. Well, you talked about some of the challenges that our horsemen face here every day. What do you think are some of the current challenges in horse racing as a general? I know it's a broad question,
Yeah,
but
no, I think there's a couple. The ones that pop up to me, unfortunately, public perception. I think the industry as a whole over the last couple of years, we had some incidences that really garnered the attention of the regular mom and pop fan on the couch who really doesn't know the inner workings of what all goes into thoroughbred racing. But when they see some of those events that unfold at the track, which are horrifying, that we can't promise they're not going to happen. We, as a group, as an industry, can do our very best to get our fatalities down to zero. But as you know, we race thoroughbreds, and just like on a Sunday in the NFL, there are going to be some injuries. Now, I believe Pennsylvania, especially, has taken an added role in getting our fatality rate down. But again, the public perception is that number needs to be zero, and I don't think there's anyone in this industry that can promise zero. We can do everything we can. HISA just came out with the report that we're, 0.9, so less than one breakdown per 1,000 starters. And again, I'm not saying that's the answer. I'm not saying that's acceptable. But if you want to talk about challenges, that's something that the public, that's something they wrap their arms around. But we need to show them all the love, the care, and the support we give our thoroughbreds. I mean, Dani, you own thoroughbreds. Our horses here are treated better than the pet canine at home, or better than they're treated like family. And our horsemen that spend every single day with them, we prioritize that, the health and safety. That's why HISA was originally established. That's why the PTHA, in partnership with the Pennsylvania Racing Commission, that's why we have so many guidelines. And again, as you both know, when a horse goes over there to race, there's a pre-examination. Sometimes that happens a few days before. There's the morning of examination. There's the paddock examination. So industry professionals are doing everything in their power to put as much eyes and to much attention on each and every horse that breaks from that starting gate. But you mentioned the challenge, and that's a challenge, Dani, and Bruce, because there are going to be some instances that ill-fated instances. But I think as an industry, we've really done a good job getting that down as much as possible, and I hope that trend continues. The other thing is competition for viewership and competition for gambling dollars. My generation especially, there's so much out there. There's professional sports, there's online slot machines, there's this and that, and there's only so much time an individual has, so we really need to get thoroughbred racing to the forefront. I think, Bruce, your team, we do a great job for Pennsylvania Derby Day. I mean, having the Pennsylvania Derby broadcast on NBC Sports Philadelphia under your leadership with that, Dani, as one of the co-hosts. That's the kind of things we need to get into our market, into our, the younger generation, to say, hey, I can watch the Phillies, the Eagles, the Sixers, and I can watch thoroughbred racing, for our Pennsylvania Derby. So it's just getting into those markets where there's some spillover from the other sports. I think that's key. And then last but not least, and there's more, Dani, but I just agree. But I think barriers to entry. If someone wants to get into basketball, they go to a sporting goods store, they buy a basketball, and they find a local hoop. If someone wants to get into soccer, but getting into thoroughbred racing is not that easy. So unless your family's involved with it, you really don't know what to do. You go to the racetrack, you see all of these TVs, you see everyone hooting and hollering at a race, and you're probably standing there thinking like, wow, like I like this, but where do I go from here? So I think thoroughbred ownership, partnerships like My Racehorse, West Point Thoroughbreds. We have some local partnerships right here at Parks. I don't want to forget anyone, so I'm saying the national ones, but there's a ton of opportunities. You can contact the PTHA, you can contact Bruce, Dani. I mean,
I love
anyone can
directing
contact
people.
anyone, and we'll promote all of our partnerships. But I just think the barrier to entry, someone says, hey, I want to own a racehorse, but hey, I have to get licensed. I have to find a trainer. I have to learn what a claiming race is. I have to figure out what horse I want to claim. So again, I think the more we make that easy for the end user, the fan who becomes potentially a partner owner, I think that's huge. And I think you see these major partnerships. I mean, year in and year out, they have horses on the Derby Trail now. So I think that's really getting some momentum. And I think that's a nice way to, gently introduce someone to thoroughbred ownership. Because if you take it on all at once, it's fantastic. But again, there's a lot that goes into it, as you know.
Learning curve.
When the phone rings and a trainer's asking you, hey, do we want to run here? Do we want to run there? There's a lot of moving parts. So I think the better we can ease someone into what exactly it means to be a thoroughbred owner, the better. And it's not as simply as just picking up a basketball or a soccer ball and saying, hey, go practice. It's It's slowly teaching them and showing them the ropes. And then, then they can hopefully go from owning a 5% of a horse to owning 50 horses. And
Yep.
ultimately that's the goal.
Jeff, what do you like most about the sport of horse racing?
I just love the storylines, the competitiveness. Fortunate enough, I fell in love with racing right here at Philadelphia Park back in the day. Obviously now we're Parks, but just coming here every Saturday morning with my dad. He never had a big stable. He had one or two horses here and there. And I just really learned to love it, just the sport, just seeing these horses give their all, seeing the jockeys on their back risk their lives every time those gates open. And they all want the same thing. They want, A, to be safe, and B, they want to cross that line first. And these horses have been bred for generations after generations to run and to race. And they know nothing else except running as hard as they can, as far as they can, as fast as they can. So it really is. I know it's a cliche, but it really is like poetry in motion. Because when a horse crosses the line first, it's not just the horse winning and the jockey winning. You have breeders who are either there or sitting at home that are emotional that this horse that was born in their backyard just won a race. You have the $2 bettor or the $2,000 bettor or the $20,000 bettor who's, joyful that they just had a winning score. You have the jockey, and then you have the jockey's agent, you have the jockey's family, you have the trainer, you have the trainer's spouse, the trainer's kid. It is an entire
It's
village.
endless.
And Danielle Montgomery says it great. Aftercare, it takes a village for aftercare. It takes a village just to get a horse in a race. Forget about winning a race. It takes an entire village, the groom, the trainer, the hot walker, the exercise rider, the jockey, the breeder. It's incredible to see those storylines in sports. We always see the 60 minutes and we always see the, leading up to the Super Bowl, you pull one or two athletes aside and you say, hey, who got you here? But in thoroughbred racing, you have that story roughly 7 or 8 times per race. And we run 10 races a day. So the storylines are just endless, Bruce. So I just love the competitiveness. I love the storylines and I love the people involved because we might disagree on things. But at the end of the day, if there is a good race going on, you will have this entire community either glued to the track on the rail or glued to their television sets. And it truly brings all of us together. So it's the one time, no matter how many differences we all have, when there's a good race going on, our inner kid, our inner joy, and our inner love for the sport, I think for that one moment, we are fully unified.
Well, I don't own any race horses, but I live my life through you guys. Of course, Dani the other day winning that first stakes race. I was excited for the entire week after that. And then, of course, one of my favorite horses is Boats a Rockin'. And I'm always wondering when that, because I'm a big boater, but I'm always wondering when's Boats a Rockin' going to run again? Is that one of your favorite horses?
Yeah, he's definitely my favorite horse. He's a turf sprinter, so his races are very quick. The gates open. Next thing you know, it's over. Fortunately, he's got across the line first quite a few times, and it's really been a fun journey to be in those type of races. Because being a smaller owner, I started in 2017 owning horses, never having a real lot of horses, but to go up to Saratoga last summer and be able to get a win, to go down to Colonial, to run here at Parks a few times with just that horse. He's one that I circle the dates on the calendar and I really start getting excited for him because I know
me too.
Just like what I just said, he's one of those horses when the gates open, he's going to give it everything he got. He might not be good enough, but he's going to give it a run for its money, put it that way.
He's got a big heart. He loves what he do. Jeff, it'll be fun to we get to see you. You're kind of our quarterback for the PTHA. It's a lot of stuff, but what's a day like for you as the executive director?
I'm the quarterback, but I would say you guys, Dani, our director of operations, Vicky Mangini, yourself, Danielle Montgomery. I'm going to just name them all. Nikki Guzman, Jackie DeSantis, Diane Day, Bella Moscow, Samantha Potts, Victor Colazzo. You guys are our offensive line, and it's not just for me. It's for our board. You guys allow us to do what we do because, as we said before, there is so much on a daily basis. But I think I have the best offensive line in the industry. I wouldn't trade anyone for the world. But a day in our life, we come in, there's some paperwork, there's some emails to catch up on. There's keeping up with what's going on in Harrisburg. As we know, HISA is crafting and changing their rules day in and day out. So it's me absorbing that to get out to our horsemen. We run a lot of events, whether that be for PTHA charities, whether that be fundraisers for Turning for Home. We have horsemen that have, we need to help them with some licensing. We have to get them licensed. We help them there. We do horse transfers, horses switching barns, switching ownerships. I mean, the list goes on and on. I don't really have a routine every day. I like to think I do, but once I make my coffee, it kind of turns a lot. So, it's like boxing. You really don't have a game plan until you kind of get punched in the face. And I'm not saying I've ever gotten punched in the face at the job, but I feel like every morning, I'm trying to figure out something, working with our board, trying to make racing better here, trying to make racing better in the Commonwealth. Going to have conversations, negotiations with Frontside, who, at the end of the day, we don't always see eye to eye on things. So there's a give and a take there.
Right.
Like I mentioned before, HISA, we have a fairly good open line of communication with them. Again, not saying we agree lockstep with everything. I think every horseman's group there's pros and cons to all types of regulations because, a regulation might read one thing on a line for a licensing application, but it might totally look different to someone in a barn to say, wait a second, this rule is saying this. So it's just constantly working to better the livelihoods and the way we go about business. So a day in the life is coming in, making my coffee, usually not having a lunch, which is probably productive for me because it's, keeps me on the go. But I very much enjoy the daily battles, hurdles that we face. And like I said, it takes a team. So it's not just me, it's our entire PTHA staff, and I couldn't do a day without them. So I'm very appreciative of that.
We have some exciting things coming up. I know that the golf tournament or the golf outing is soon. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's our fourth annual Turning for Home golf outing. So when I took over in 2022, I'm an avid golfer, not a good golfer, but I'm avid golfer. I like to golf when I can. So it's going to be the fourth annual. It's going to be on Thursday, May 1st. It's an all hands on deck event for our team. All the proceeds will go to Turning for Home. So it's one of our marquee events on the year. Believe this year, if the numbers continue, this will be our second year as a full sellout. So very proud of that. Very proud of the sponsors that have stepped up year after year, whether they're sponsoring a hole or sponsoring the event overall. Couldn't do it without our members. But again, I know there's some events that we gear toward Turning for Home, but in my mind, aftercare is something we promote and we raise money for each and every day. Every time those gates open, we're very thankful to our owners. The $100 per start allow us to continue that program. So you might have Turning for Home golf outing, you might have Turning for Home day, but in my heart, and I know in Danielle Montgomery's heart, every day is Turning for Home day because aftercare does not sleep. It's 365 days a year. We are always there for our horses when they call. When the horsemen call, we are there for their horses. And just really excited for the golf outing. Hopefully, the one thing we can't control is Mother Nature. So we get good weather. We're well on our way to a successful day.
And we'll have some nice baskets there. Your mom will help put together. She always puts together
my mom
a nice spread.
She gets into the she loves making the baskets. And like I said, under Danielle Montgomery, leading that day, and Samantha Potts and yourself, Dani, and Dick Girardi giving us a little preview into the Derby, which will be 2 days after. So we'll have the golf outing on May 1st and the Kentucky Derby on May 3rd. So it's just a really nice week to piece together to promote Thoroughbred Aftercare and at the same time getting out, playing some golf, and getting some insights from the experts such as yourselves.
So the National Thoroughbred League is coming our way as well with Julius Irving and some of those guys.
Yep, National Thoroughbred League is coming on Saturday, June 21st. This will be the second go-around for the National Thoroughbred League here at Parks. They go to Kentucky Downs. They have an agreement with Pimlico, so they'll be at Pimlico on May 10th. But the National Thoroughbred League, my elevator pitch to all of you is that the National Thoroughbred League is a league designed to put business men and women together, also professional athletes, both past and present, and they form these teams. So in Philadelphia, we have the Philadelphia Stallions. In Baltimore, they have the Maryland Colts. That team is owned by Lamar Jackson. And as you mentioned, Bruce, the Philadelphia Stallions are owned by Dr. Julius Irving. So it's a great way, like we talked about before, the competition for viewership and wagering dollars. Right there in itself, you have an NBA legend, Hall of Famer, and you have a current day MVP caliber quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens. So it's getting those sports, like we talked about with NBC Sports Philadelphia, it's getting some of those other major sports that have millions of viewers and kind of getting some spillage over into thoroughbred racing. So I commend the National Thoroughbred League for their efforts. Looking forward to hosting them again on Saturday, June 21st. And we'll try to make it better and better each and every year.
Yeah, and it's just like we talked about, lots of changes, and thoroughbred racing is always changing, but it looks like we're really working together to take positive steps and really make this last for the future.
Like you said, it takes all of us. And I think as much as we can strive to get our message out there, I know, there's storylines to be told each and every day. And I just think if we can let the public absorb more and more of that, it's not just, hey, we're going to turn on the television on the first Saturday in May and see the Derby and then forget about thoroughbred racing. Thoroughbred racing is a year-round sport. There's, 50 some racetracks, I believe. It's just a great opportunity to show people that, hey, we're not just one day a year, we're every single day, whether there's live racing or not. These athletes are being cared for. These athletes are being trained, and it's pretty special. It's hard to put into words, but I get, I get good feelings just talking about it because I am so passionate about it, just like the two of you.
Well, Jeff, before we let you go, boy, a lot of exciting things coming our way. I mean, Smarty Jones perhaps getting into the Hall of Fame on the ballot. That is so exciting. And then we've got the PA Derby coming up, Smarty Jones Day. I mean, there's a lot of exciting things that our horsemen can be proud of.
Oh, for sure. I think Smarty being on the ballot for the first time, I think he's got a heck of a shot. I know the PTHA and our horsemen are fully behind that effort. Mrs. Chapman, John Service, Stuart Elliott, Roy Chapman, rest his soul. It was just a magical ride back in 2004. I was 13 years old, so for it to come full circle and now possibly see that happen would be a dream come true. And like you said, we have the PA Derby, and I think the thing as an executive director that I'm most proud about Pennsylvania Derby Day is not necessarily who wins the Derby or the cotillion or anything like that, but it's over the last couple of years, our parks-based horsemen have had a lot of success on Pennsylvania Derby Day. You get a lot of these big days at other racetracks where, X, Y, and Z trainers ship in and win and take some of the bigger pots and the bigger money and the bigger races. But our horsemen have sure as heck held their own over the last couple of years. And I hope that's a narrative that continues. I would put our trainers up against any other track. Like I said, I'm proud to represent our horsemen, proud to represent our trainers, and I wouldn't trade them for the world. I think they compete day in and day out here, but on the national stage on PA Derby Day, it's they hold their own, and they send some shippers home, with upset stomachs and some heartbreak, put it that way.
I love it. I agree totally.
Dani, anything else?
No, it's great talking to him. I could talk to him all day about this. I know we all share our passion, and it's just exciting to see where parks and the PTHA is headed.
Yeah, no, it's exciting to see where the industry's headed. I think we make up a big part of it. We might not be Saratoga or Del Mar or Keeneland, but I think we have a very strong foothold in the Mid-Atlantic, and I think the Mid-Atlantic, out of all regions in the country, is one of the richest for racing. If you're stable here at Parks, you have a short ship to Monmouth, you can ship to Penn National, Delaware, Laurel. I mean, Colonial's not even too far out of range, Saratoga. It's we have a very strong footprint. And I think the Mid-Atlantic can really be the driving force for the future of thoroughbred racing, whether that's in breeding, whether that's in race calendars, whether you name it. I think the Mid-Atlantic could really be the driving force. And I take a lot of pride, and I know our board does, of being one of the vocal leaders in the Mid-Atlantic and being in that group of tracks and horsemen. So, yeah, I'm excited. I come to, work every single day. We might not always get things done, overnight or at the snap of a finger, but we sure as heck try day in and day out. And is the most we can do is just help our horsemen as much as we can every single day. So if there's a couple of things that get left on our desk on a Monday, we tackle them Tuesday. And it's that constant representation, that constant fight to get them everything they deserve. Because like I said, it is arguably the toughest industry to work in, and I have a heck of a lot of respect for all horsemen.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for coming on Gate to Wire. We appreciate it, and good luck in the future.
I appreciate you guys very much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Jeff. Bye, Bruce.